Hi, welcome back to Stories of the Side of Weird. I'm Eliza.
I'm Peter.
And this is our guest.
I'll be Dave Albert tonight.
Yeah! And we're on location today at One Man Band in Lehi, Utah. Pretty special. And we're going to be trying I think, a pretty weird thing.
Liver and onions.
Delicious.
Let's try it! Dave and I, we go way back. Back to when I was in 7th grade. We won't say how many years that's been. But we first came to One Man Band in 2005.
Yep.
That's when he first, well, you probably had liver and onions way further back than that.
Yes, I have.
We won't say how far back that was either. But in 2005, we came here, and I vowed I would never try this. And here I am.
So
and
never say never.
Yeah, and I brought Peter along for the ride.
Yay!
But why? Now, why do you like liver and onions, though? Like, is
Well,
this a childhood thing?
I like them for the taste. Now, I do have to say that my mother did not prepare liver and onions properly. It was more like shoe leather that you probably have experienced.
I've never had it. I've never experienced anything.
When not over grilled, it does have a really nice texture, a nice taste. And onions, again, if you really enjoy onions, it is definitely the place to be. I do have very fond memories of my mom then taking the shoe leather in a grinder, meat grinder, and making some delicious chopped liver.
Oh, so that's how you would chop. I was wondered about chopped liver.
You put it in you have a little hand crank, and we had the old pull-out bread boards back then. So you would clamp it to that, and then you would turn the crank with the appropriate cutter, and it would turn it into sort of shoestrings, and then you would mix them with mayonnaise and probably some celery, some good onions, and some of the ones that I've really enjoyed lately at a delicatessen, they put mustard in there.
Oh,
and that's a really
good taste. Is it just
yellow
mustard or Dijon mustard? Or
yellow mustard.
Oh, just yellow mustard.
Yep.
All right.
So I want to know where the expression chopped liver, is that,
The expression is chopped liver because
it's literally a chopped liver.
Yeah, but
it's literally.
if they're going to say you're going to be chopped liver, is that because somebody chopped
Somebody's going to put you into a
and,
grinder,
yeah,
and
that's really
you're going to come out
delicious.
not in your original shape.
But with mustard.
if you like that. I also like potato salad with radishes, so there you go.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, so grab your fork.
All right.
And
so me and Eliza are just going to try this.
Okay.
I decided to get something else because I actually am kind of
a little nervous.
We are here for dinner.
But
so.
we do want to try this because it is a little weird. Most people don't like it. I'm going to see if maybe I actually like it. I have no idea. We'll see how this goes.
And I do have to say, this is very well prepared. Liver and onions. Now make sure you get some liver, get some onions.
Okay.
There's also some bacon if you want some.
Bacon. I probably should put some bacon on.
You should.
Bacon is awesome.
Yeah.
There we go. So I've got my onions, I got my bacon.
Yep.
All right.
We did not have bacon as youngers.
1, 2, 3.
I thought it would be more
Shoe leather.
livery. No, like
Like
squishy?
ironing.
Oh, that too.
That's
but
what I was thinking.
I was thinking like it
More
would be
irony.
squishy. It's not squishy.
Nope, it's definitely not steak.
No. It's a lot mushier though. Like it doesn't have the fibers like a steak or something like that. So it's a lot more mush, but it's tender.
It does not taste like chicken.
Does not taste like chicken.
Yep.
No, but yeah, it's definitely not the texture I thought it would be. I guess I thought it would be more jelly, squishy like.
Right. But
Like a liver. Like.
I don't know. That's
You want more?
No, I got
I
it. I got
think
to
I'm
know what I'm
good.
talking about.
All right.
It's definitely interesting. I've experienced it. I can now say I've actually had liver and onions.
This is
I've
true.
never had it before today. I've had it. I don't think I'd ever order it again.
But you
I've
had some
experienced
stuff to share about liver and onions in One Man Band, right?
I can give you
I would love
some.
to know a little bit.
I can give you some information. While One Man Band has been here since 1997, I can say my first experience would have been in 2005 when we dropped off our daughter to come to Utah, and Eliza was already here. And we were in the different city. We were over in Pleasant Grove, which is now gone. I think there's only 2 one-man bands left. I can also tell you that when we first came here, it really was one-man band. You would dial in your order, that the cook would pick up your order, prepare it, and then the cook, the one man or one person, would then prepare your food, call you back, and then that person was also responsible for busing and everything else.
Yeah. There's at least 3 people here
Today we have 3 people, or if you want to call it 1 and 2 halves, or whatever you want to, however you want to delineate, has gone multiple.
With little helpers.
With helpers, definitely.
It's like Santa's got to have little helpers.
Yep. Now, do you want information on liver?
Well,
and
yeah, I
onions?
mean,
Yeah,
if
Okay.
I'm going to
No.
eat this horrible thing, I mean, what's my benefit?
So I took some copious notes and learned not only do I enjoy the food, but iron is filled with foliate, iron, of course, vitamin B, vitamin A, and copper. Now, copper has all sorts of good health for you too. However, you probably should limit yourself to 3 ounces. This is a little more than 3 ounces. Make sure it's cooked per week. Make sure it's no more than once a week. That will give you about 331 milligrams of cholesterol.
Oh.
That's why liver has been put on the foods to avoid list, because some people might overindulge. So that is, like I said, once a week. And of course you're asking the question, is liver safe to eat raw? And the answer is no. You will have severe food poisoning, hepatitis E and salmonella, and also Campylactobacter, whatever that is. So don't do it.
So if you add bacon with the liver, what does that do for health?
I didn't look that one up,
Yeah,
but
that's-
knowing the limited amount that I know of bacon, besides tasting absolutely wonderful, that probably helped with the flavor
Probably.
because you were able to cook it in, other than butter, if you use the grease of bacon, that would definitely enhance the taste.
Yeah.
And besides the onions, so again, you wouldn't want something as wimpy as canola oil.
No.
You would want it, and even I would probably say olive oil over a vegetable oil
Yeah.
would probably give you better results,
Yeah. That's
because
interesting.
well, olive oil is going to be better for you anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's probably the way you would want to prepare it.
Yeah.
Then we can go into the wonderful world of onions, which
Okay.
my
All right.
preference is red, but I have no problem with yellow. What I looked up was, I'm going to call it quercetin, which is organic sulfur, which will actually, when you eat your onions, it will prohibit activity and the creation of cancer, which is going to be very good for you.
I wonder how many onions you have to eat for that.
Well, I don't think you can eat too many onions, unlike liver. But I like turnips myself. But we'll go for onions. We'll stay there. So the question is red or yellow. I did read that yellow has 11 times the antioxidants of white onions. So for all of you doing white onions, move to yellows or reds.
Then
You'll
you
be
get your
happier.
antioxidants and your cancer fighting, which antioxidants in general can help fight cancer.
Yes, and it
So-
will help your gut, and everything else is going to go to work.
Yeah.
Or you can be weird like me, and sometimes I'll take the red onions and I'll just eat them raw,
Yeah.
just as an apple.
And then Danielle gives you kisses.
Yes, my wife will give me kisses afterwards.
But then we're going to get
After a few hours, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the liver and onions. I do have a baked potato here. I did put in butter, real butter, and some sour cream, because that gets us to the next point, because the scone's right in front. So I'm going to give you an early life lesson that my sister gave me. She was brittle diabetic at age 11. And back then, we knew that you weren't going to live past age 40, if you could make it to age 40.
Wow.
Well, because everything was a urine test, not a blood test. And even if you had a blood test, it was going to be like literally a blood test, not an instantaneous. So she told me, there's 2 kinds of food in life. There is health food and soul food. Now, health food is what you eat to keep your insulin level intact, to keep your body moving, to make sure you're functioning. And then there's soul food. And she explained that if she wanted a Snickers, it's okay because that was for her soul.
I like that.
So with that, I intend to really enjoy the liver and onions and the scone, which absolutely, I can tell you, the scone in terms of health is a complete loss. You are high calorie because of the butter and the cream, and I intend to put strawberry jam on it.
Oh yeah.
Go for the goods
honey,
that preserves.
right?
Honeys are also good.
Yeah.
But if you do think that the fruit's going to have any redeeming values whatsoever, just forget about it, because fruit just adds more calories and saturated fats.
Yes.
So with that, that's going to be moving out of the health food definitely into the soul food portion of our dinner.
And this is sometimes referred to as a Utah type scone instead of like a British scone, which is more
Yes.
of that hard scone.
And
Right.
they also like to be called elephant ear sometimes,
Yeah.
beaver tails. There's a few different names. Navajo tacos, the bread.
That's
that.
what
Yes.
I've got going on
Flatbreads.
here. What do you call it in your neck of the wood? Comment and let us
Comment
know.
down below.
Yeah, we love that. So, well, we might as well chit chat and get that over with so we can eat our lovely food.
Real quick, comment
Okay.
down below if
Oh.
you would actually eat liver and onions, or if you've ever
Yes.
eaten liver and onions and you like it. Put a comment down below. Let us know.
Yeah, we
It'd be
do want to hear
interesting to hear your
that.
stories.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
stories that your parents had, or you had from being a child with parents who might actually enjoy liver and onions.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
So Dave here is a mechanical thinker, just like Peter is. And at one point, you called it a recovering
Oh, I'm an almost fully recovered academician
academician. Yeah, I can't even
So
say
what is
it.
an academician?
as an educator.
Okay.
So the elevator speech is I help students and I play guitar. It's that simple. That's the short version.
Now,
No,
can you
I-
play guitar while helping the students?
Yes, I can. As a
See,
matter of fact,
that's even better.
I'm currently
You like a sing along with them as well, or
I'm working with the preschool kids. Since Judy's
fun.
retired, we with our kids, I went ahead and I do remember going to all of their kindergarten and even their elementary school classes and playing guitar in class. But Judy, since she's retired now, is working with MOPS, Mothers of Prayer, and I've tried to explain to her that anybody she meets, she should just tell them that I don't know anything and I can't do anything. But she opened her mouth and said I could play guitar. So now I'm Mr. Dave, guitar player.
And let's be honest, you would have opened it at some point anyway, too.
Probably.
Yeah.
But so now we've got the absolute young babies that I just quietly play Beatles and other quiet songs, and then I've got my younger ones, and we play Wheels on the Bus and Old MacDonald's.
Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Okay. So the
And-
classics.
Oh, the classics. We also sing, because these are newer kids, we can sing You've Got a Friend in Me, and then you have to have your kids shake their sillies out before they go back to class.
Yes, yes.
So the song we have of choice now is Route 66, which is a very old song. However, it made its comeback in cars.
Yes.
So the kids today know that one.
And that song in particular has actually been sung by several different people throughout
Yes, it
time,
has.
actually.
Oh yeah, been around for a long, long time, and even including Sedona. So there you go.
Yes. Yeah, you just came back from a trip from Sedona.
Yes, we did.
Was
Wonderful
that your
place.
first time in Sedona?
Yes, it was, and I actually. Now I know you're not going to necessarily believe this, but I was at my dinner table, and I had an empty cup of vinaigrette, and as it sat there, I had a water glass sitting next to it, and the vinaigrette cup actually moved on its own. So you don't have to believe me, but I believe I must have been in one giant vortex. My personal thinking on the vortex is that it's all the red rock, and if you don't know about red rock, it's more of a lava than a sandstone, and the reason why it's red is because it's rust because of all the iron. just like your liver. There you go.
Whoa.
Everything's a big circle. So
Sorry
we hit
about
the
noise,
vortex.
guys. We are
Yeah.
actually filming in a restaurant, so
That's
you
what
may hear a
happens.
milkshake maker in the back.
Yeah. That's so fascinating. I enjoyed your pictures, and I'm like, this is now on my list and my short list, and I want to go to Sedona.
Make sure you take the Jeep tours and take the 10 out of 10.
The 10 out of 10?
The 10 out of 10 bounce of roughness and the bounce of this. Don't just take the really smooth, go through the city in a van. Just get on a Jeep and head out to the flats, and I guess they call it a wagon wheel. I think they call it wagon wheel because it's where all the wagons used to live. In the old days, what I'm told was the road that's now completely a disaster was very well taken care of and paved by the city folk because that was their main access for food.
Okay.
So they were out there making sure all the rocks and everything else was cleared or covered with dirt. Today, everything is all washed out, and you better be on a four-wheeler. And just like Hawaii, do not take your rental cars through that area.
Now I want to know though, with your vinaigrette, were you told to put it somewhere?
No,
It just happened.
after I set it down. I'll give Peter the video if he wants to put it in.
That would
I
be
would
kind of
love to
cool.
hear
And
Yeah.
you don't have to believe me.
Oh,
I
that
can
was just crazy.
like everything else in life, I believe, and that's enough for me.
That
So
is
there you
just
go.
crazy.
And I actually am an engineer, although I've only had one semester of calculus. So
It's more than I had.
but they couldn't show it to me. That's what I explained to Eliza.
know.
But now I get software to schools and to students where we can graphically show them how things work, where things, stress loads, computational fluid dynamics, it's just a fancy name for a wind tunnel. And we can also, let's see what else we have. Kinematics, that's where you can do motion studies and displacement, how far things move. When you stick 1,000 pounds on a bar hanging out, 3 feet, is it safe? That's the best way to describe it.
It's crazy. Did you ever think when you were young that the kids today would be able to do things that they're like, be able to have the software that you're teaching them on now?
No, there was no software. Like I
right?
said,
Like, I mean, there weren't.
Well, back
You know.
way back, I mean, your computer was the size of a massive
right.
room.
well, way back, in the,
Yeah.
we'll give it a year. 1970 was when I actually graduated from high school. But in junior high school, even, we were on the drafting board with pencils and papers. So some people can actually think 3D. We can see 3D. Long before we had the virtual cameras, I can look at a 2D picture or a series of 2D pictures and see the three-dimensional part. When I want to remodel the family room, I go, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and I get this. So I give her a picture. Now I can't give her a flat picture. I'll give her a picture with vanishing points in perspective, and just as if I would have taken a picture of what's coming.
Yeah.
And I did not have software. It's all pencil and paper. And again, you just draw your vanishing points. Everything goes in, and she'll hold up the picture, and she'll look at the room, and goes, well, the room looks just like, the picture looks just like the room. I go, no, it looks just like what's up in here, because that's where it came from.
So there's almost like an art to it as well, as far as
Definitely an art.
So I mean, forced perspectives, things like that, and actually be able to like put shadows and everything to make it actually look like what you need to, so you can actually visualize it on paper what it is.
That's
that you're
the
after.
technical illustration or the rendering part of it.
Right.
The mechanical part of it, we don't worry about that so much. We actually think that we look at a part like the side view of a car.
Okay.
Or a house. When we look at a house, we know things vanish. That's the way our eyes work, single point perspective. When we do a mechanical drawing, without getting very technical, just imagine that your eyes are infinitely wide and infinitely tall. Mm-hmm. So you can see the right, left, top, and the bottom at the same time. So a box really doesn't vanish visually, it's just a square or a rectangle. Mm-hmm. Now, again, when I took drafting, I would talk to my teacher and I'd say, excuse me, is that line really just a line? Isn't that the top of a cube or a box? And I would hear this, shut up, Dave, draw the line. Well, isn't that circle like a cylinder? Or shut up, Dave, and draw the circle. So again, my brain was 3D. Today we have pictures to where you build 3-dimensional models and then the computer gives you 2-dimensional views.
Right.
But then we can still take the 2-dimensional view and rotate it. So that's I don't want to call it a job. That's what I do. I get software to schools and I help students. So
That's pretty cool.
I have absolutely no reason to stop until my body or brain decides it's time.
I love it. Now, we've had one life lesson from your sister.
Yes.
Any other life lessons?
Oh, we had talked about this a little bit earlier. We have to talk about mentors.
Oh, yes.
Because I've been part of a community, mostly adjunct or part-time community college, and then full-time community college. I've also gone adjunct at a couple of universities, state universities in California, and a private university. But I want to talk about mentors because I get to talk to a lot of college teams. And that brought me to one more thought. My thought is on a college competition team, what I used to tell my students was, my participants, that I was not their mentor, I was their tormentor, and they were my tormentees.
Your kids might agree with that too, that you were
Pretty
a
much,
mentor.
and life lessons everywhere.
Yeah.
But in joining a competition team, I would tell the participants, I'd say, now listen, you're going to be part of this competition team, and before you join, I want you to go and talk to everybody that's involved with your everyday life and depend on you, and make sure it's okay. Because on the day of the competition, unless you are comatose on a gurney with your mouth taped shut, you will be there. There is no other excuse. So that was part of it. The last thing I'll tell you before our food gets way too cold is the idea of a mentor. And that is, most of you out there, please, please, please go get a mentor, again, or a tormentor in my case. But you probably only have one criteria. When I was younger, my mentor was able to live to age 93. It was amazing.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't even meet him till community college, and he was already retired at age 60, and then went into education. He was at Douglas Aircraft, which is now Boeing for those of you who are in the real world today. So I tell students today that if you're going to find a mentor, you probably only have one criteria, which is make sure they're absolutely brilliant. Because nobody wants a stupid mentor. Really, it doesn't help, doesn't work. But there's a second criteria that I hope that you are able to enjoy like I did. And I've already kind of referred to that, but that is longevity. Just make sure that your mentor lives a long time. Even after you graduate from school, if you really do have that special relationship with a mentor, it will go on. And hopefully you'll be that student that connects. And I can tell you one more thing if you're interested.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
I'd love to.
I was not able to call my mentor by his first name for several years. He was always Mr. Watts, although his first name was Al Byrne. So finally, after about I graduated when I was about 22 from community colleges. I would have been about 35. And I called one day, had a family, kids, and I said, hey, is Al there? And he goes, Al? Did you just call me Al? I go, yes, I did. Al, I just wanted to check in. And he goes, okay, what happened? And I said, well, I explained that in the early days, everybody knows of Thomas Edison and Henry Ford. Now, Henry Ford was the cars, Thomas Edison was the electricity.
Right.
All right, so Henry Ford, Thomas Edison always called Henry Ford Hank. You can look it up. So he called him Hank. And Henry Ford always called Thomas Edison Mr. Edison.
Oh.
Always, public and privately. So never called him Tom. So at that point, Al Watts asked me, what was it? What happened? What was the turning point? And I said, Al, I'm now a department chair at the college. So
You made it.
so when you become department chair, then you can call your mentor by the first name.
I think that's good. I love it. Well,
That's
thanks for
great.
torturing us with your liver and onions,
There you go.
your stories, and Peter's going to do his tongue twister now.
So unfortunately, this is the part of the video where it just got cut off for some strange reason. But I'd like to thank you all for being here. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'd like to thank our guest, Dave Albert, and I'd like to thank One Man Band in Lehi. They were just awesome and very, very accommodating. We will see you next time. Bye.